York City Civilian Complaint Review Board to order. My name is Maya Riley. I chair the Civilian Complaint Review Board. Thank you so much for your attendance and for welcoming us into the community. Before I get started, I would like to ask one of my colleagues, Angela Fernandez, to translate.
Thank you. Mi nombre es Fernandez, soy miembro de la Junta Directiva de la CCRB, en la agencia de las querellas. Tenemos audífonos para hacer traducciones al español. Para las personas que necesitan traducción del inglés al español, pueden hablar con el señor atrás de la mano alzada y pedirle audífonos para que puedan comprender el español si necesario. Gracias.
Thank you. And since we're in community, I thought we would actually each introduce ourselves to you. I've obviously just introduced myself. My day job is at the new school where I'm a faculty member in urban policy and a senior vice president. I'm going to ask, why don't we start with you, Fred?
I'm Fred Daly. I am the executive vice president of the Union Theological Seminary here in New York. I also serve on the Mayor's Clergy Advisory Council, where I co-chair the Public Safety Committee, and very pleased to be here tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ramon Peguero. I am the point delegate to the CCRB. I've worked both in Manhattan, in the Bronx, in Brooklyn, working with affordable housing, social services, from childhood to adulthood, done all those social services in the community. Thank you.
Excuse me, I'm like mayoral appointee to the CCRB. My name is Angela Fernandez, and I'm also the executive director of the Northern Manhattan Coalition for Immigrant Rights, a community-based organization that provides free legal services and also does advocacy to change policies around immigration.
I'm Jonathan Darsh. I'm the acting executive director of the CCRB.
Hi everybody, I'm Sal Carpentera. I'm one of the police commissioner appointees to the CCRB, retired law enforcement in private business right now, and actually very glad to be with the members of this board. Outstanding things. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Archer. I'm a mayoral appointee, and my day job is a professor of law at New York Law School, and I also am the director of the New York Law School Racial Justice Project.
Good evening, my name is Young Jun. I'm a city council designee. I'm an attorney representing mainly immigrants and small business people.
Thank you. Before we begin, I just want to really thank our hosts here in this beautiful, gorgeous facility. We really appreciate all the support so that we can be in community. And I'm not going to give a big report because it's really, we're here because we really want to hear from you about what's happening with policing in your community. One of the things we have started to do as a board is, rather than just having our monthly board meetings in our offices downtown in Manhattan, is really actually coming physically to the community so that it can be much more of a dialogue, that we can hear much more directly from community. And also inviting our partners in the New York City Police Department to participate in the conversation and be able to hear from you directly as well, and for us to hear directly as well on that. I do want to note that Deputy Inspector Christopher McIntosh, I'm sorry, I wrote that wrong, it actually wants to be here this evening, was invited and wants to be here, may be able to come, had a conflict. So hopefully we'll see the Deputy Inspector later, but I just wanted the community to know that he was committed to attending if he can make it. I've said while we're here, we really want to hear from you, so I'm going to stop there except to say that we have now, we are trying to do this in every borough. We have already been in Brooklyn, we have been in Queens, we are now here in Northern Manhattan, we will go to Staten Island. We've also been in the Bronx, and we'll continue to do this, and we're committed to doing it every other month. But our board meetings also at 100 Church Street downtown are also open to the public, and we do take public testimony at those meetings as well. So please feel always welcome to come and speak to us and share with us there as well. I'm now going to pass it to our acting executive director for his report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all for joining us this evening. Tonight you will hear from Connor Mayer, a member of the policy staff, about the agency statistics as they specifically apply to the 23rd precinct. For a full review of the agency's monthly statistics, please visit our website. I'd like to thank the following people for their work in bringing the CCRB to the Dream Charter School: Emily Harkey, the Director of Family and Community Engagement and Government Affairs at the Harlem RBI Dream Center Charter; Travis Walls, the Operations Manager at Dream Charter; Brian Barze, IT Manager at Dream Charter; and Max Cantorero, Community Affairs Director, for Speaker Melissa Mark Viverito, for her and the speaker's support connecting us with Dream. I'd also like to thank the members of the Policy, Outreach, MIS, and Operations Unit that are here tonight to help us have this meeting: Connor, Rainice Medley, Eshwari Mehedo, Yohara Alvarez, Timothy Harrell, Yvonne Rincher, Soren Vadavu, David Duick. And then we also have 3 investigators here tonight, so if any of you wish to file a complaint after the meeting, they'll be able to take your complaint. And if they could stand up: Raquel Velasquez, Sarah Griffin, and Miriam, and I forgot your last name, Miriam, I apologize. And I'd like you all to note that our June board meeting will take place on Wednesday, June 14th, and will be held at the CCRB offices of 100 Church Street.
And before we move on to our presentation from our outreach, because we want to make sure you also understand who we are and what we do, so that you can, if you have complaints, bring them to us and know how and what else we do. But I should just say, we are live streaming this, so anyone who comes up and speaks, I just want to make sure you're aware that it's live streamed, because our meetings are public. And also that I will apologize in advance to everyone. I am unable to attend our June board meeting. I actually have a conflict and have to travel to a mandatory meeting, but Deborah Archer has graciously agreed to chair that meeting in my absence. With that, I would like to ask Rainice to come and share from outreach. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you all for attending this evening. I'm the Director of Outreach at the Civilian Complaint Review Board. This is an extension of our outreach efforts. We want to let you know that we are available to come out to wherever pretty much we're invited, so that we can deliver information not only about our services and about how to access CCRB, but also to bring information about knowing your rights and understanding what happens during the police-civilian encounter, so you understand your rights and your responsibilities in that space. So we just wanted to take a moment so that everyone who may not be as familiar with the CCRB has some better understanding about what it is that we do. So the Civilian Complaint Review Board is empowered to investigate, mediate, and prosecute allegations of misconduct that are filed against members of the NYPD. To initiate a case, it could be a person who's directly involved in an encounter, or a person who has witnessed an encounter who can reach out to our office to file a complaint. To file a complaint, you can simply call 311 and ask to speak to CCRB, or you can call directly through to CCRB at 800-341-2272. You can also go to our website, nyc.gov/CCRB. If you picked up any of the handy items out there at the table, you have it with you. So keep that with you so you have the number handy. We have a jurisdiction or authority to manage certain types of allegations. Those allegations fall in categories that we remember with the acronym FADO, F-A-D-O. The F stands for force. So we handle cases that deal with excessive or unnecessary force. We also have authority over cases of abuse of authority, and it's just what it sounds like. If a person is in an encounter and they feel that an officer may have exceeded what is appropriate in the circumstance. We handle D, discourtesy cases, and it's just as it sounds: rude behavior, profanity, language, etc. And the last category is offensive language. This is language that is demeaning to a person's race, color, creed, national origin, perceived disability, sexual orientation. I should also be clear that a person's immigration status or criminal status has no bearing on their ability to file a case. We won't ask, you don't have to tell. In terms of how you can reach out, I've already mentioned that so that you all know how it is that you can get in touch with us. We have open office hours. You can always come down to 100 Church Street and file a complaint live there as well. So you are going to hear some statistics, and that's going to let you know a little bit more about how CCRB has had an impact or what interaction the community here has had with CCRB, and so that again will give you a little more knowledge and information about how CCRB is working in the community.
Thank you. Just to add one thing, because it is a question that has come up for us in the past. Abuse of authority can include if someone feels sexually harassed by a police officer, and that sometimes, because we don't say it explicitly, that's come up as a question. So just anticipating in case anyone was wondering that that would follow under our jurisdiction. So Connor, as Connor comes up, one of the things we do in addition to receiving complaints, investigating what happened, and we as a board independently then review the evidence and make a determination if we're able, we gather all the data so that we can actually report to the public what trends and patterns we're seeing. So what you're going to hear is really just a snapshot of that. And before you do that, really, I neglected and should very much welcome our partners from the New York City Police Department, both Precinct Commander from the 2-3, Police Commander Gurley, thank you so much for being here, and also Precinct Commander from the 2-5, Kathleen Walsh, thank you as well for being here with us this evening.
Good evening. My name is Connor Maher, and I work in the policy unit, where we are responsible for collecting and analyzing data on police misconduct. Since we are in East Harlem, I will provide a snapshot of data on the 23rd precinct. So, looking at complaints received from the top 25 precincts in 2016, the CCRB received the most complaints from the 75th precinct in East New York. The precincts and the 207 complaints received are highlighted by the orange arrow. With 95 complaints received, the 14th precinct in Midtown Garment District was the highest amount of complaints received by the CCRB for Manhattan. The CCRB received 7 complaints from the 23rd precinct. For a more detailed description on the complaints received in Northern Manhattan, be sure to check out the webpage that was handed out at the door. So what happens once the CCRB receives a complaint? Well, an investigator is assigned the case and determines the types of allegations that fall within the CCRB's jurisdiction. Just to reiterate, abuse of authority could be a stop, question, or frisk allegation. Force could happen during an arrest or the use of a taser. Discourtesy could happen through an officer cursing at a civilian. Or offensive language would be targeted language on the status, such as race or gender. And so this visual right here is going to be comparing the percentage of fatal allegations that the CCRB fully investigated in 2016. New York City as a whole is going to be represented by the blue circle, and the 23rd precinct is going to be represented by the bar chart. And so if you look at abuse of authority, which is the blue bar, if you look at the blue circle of New York City is going to be in the middle of the top of the bar of the city, of the 23rd precinct. And this means that these were both similar in the percentage of abuse of authority allegations that were investigated. But if you look at the next allegation of force, you can see that the bar chart is actually taller than the circle, which means that the CCRB investigated more force allegations in 2016 in the 23rd precinct than New York City on the whole. Oh, and just to back up on this one, so in 2016, the CCRB did not fully investigate an offensive language allegation within the 23rd precinct. And there's multiple reasons why the CCRB may not fully investigate an allegation. It could be because the person that filed the complaint withdrew it, or it could be the person did not show up after multiple scheduled interviews. But once an allegation is fully investigated, the CCRB board can make one of 5 recommendations. The board can exonerate the allegation, and that is when the officer that committed the alleged act did so, but the actions were lawful. The board can unfound the allegation where there's credible evidence that the officer did not commit the alleged act. During the course of the investigation, the CCRB may not be able to identify a subject officer, which would be officer unidentified, In instances where there is not